What's up, you guys? Someone recently posted a comment in one of my other videos asking about my opinion with the ground and express merger that we're seeing in 2023 and how that's going to fare for contractors. And I want to answer this by giving you both a perspective as well as a prediction. So what a lot of people do is they will seek out experts and try to get their opinions on things to see who might know the future better than the next. But even though I have made some very, very good predictions over the last 10 to 15 years of evaluating these routes, the reality is I don't know the future and nobody else does either. And instead of trying to look for a specific answer for a specific situation like this, I think it's good to look back historically. You can start to see how FedEx has made changes in the past and how that's affected contractors, and seeing those events allows you to make much better predictions on what will happen moving forward. And so to give you an idea, I remember back in the day, you could be an LLC and contract with FedEx. You didn't have to be a corporation like you do now. And that mandate rolled out many, many years ago. And even something as simple and as small as that spooked a lot of contractors. They said, what does it matter whether we're an LLC or a corporation? You know, it shouldn't bother them one way or the other. I wonder if other changes are going to be coming down the pipeline. Sure enough, they were. And FedEx came out and said, hey, we want you to have a 3-route minimum. And then a little bit of time passed. They said, oh, we want you to have a 5-route minimum. Meanwhile, buyers are looking at these routes all throughout this process. They're looking at it whenever there was a 3-route minimum, and they're saying, gosh, you know what? I hear there's going to be a 5-route minimum. Maybe we'll wait. And so 5 routes come out, and then they say, oh, okay, that looks good. Let's look into this. And then they hear about like negotiated pay rates and new contracts coming out, the conversion from a PSA, a primary service area, to a CSA, a contracted service area. They were going to pay differently. And those same buyers are like, well, you know what, maybe we should wait another year or so, let the dust settle from all these contract negotiations, because I'm not sure FedEx is going to pay very well whenever they can negotiate these things. And sure enough, some time passed, another year or so, and then they said, oh, we like this thing again. Let's take a look. And they say, oh, you know what? I just heard about 6-day-a-week mandates. I don't know about that. Let's let the 6-day-a-week thing happen, and then we'll be interested in it. We'll take a look at it because we don't want the P&Ls to shift a whole lot. That could change the whole staffing and everything dramatically. And so they waited. 6 days a week happened. And then they said, oh my gosh, you know what? I hear there's going to be 7 days a week mandated soon. Let's just back up and wait a little bit. And 7 days come out. And then they say, you know what? I hear some of these routes are going to shift back to 6 days a week. Let's just wait for that. We'll see how everything goes, and then we'll jump into them then. And then here we are back to 6 days in some of the things, and now it's FedEx Express and ground merging. They say, oh gosh, I don't know. Let's just give it a little bit of time. This could blow up. Who knows? Let's let the dust settle. And this will go on and on and on until the end of time. Like there's no end to these sorts of changes. And I've glossed over a ton of changes too. I didn't talk about the large package mix, the e-commerce coming in-house, the bonus restructurings that they've done. All these things continue to make contractors spooked and want to sell. It continues to make buyers spooked and want to stay on the sidelines. I've seen it all before. It happens year after year. And my point is that even if I give you a perfect prediction on what exactly is going to happen with Express and ground merging, well, there's just going to be something in another 6 to 12 months that's going to make people kind of get nervous, kind of want to stay on the sidelines, kind of want to sell, whatever it may be, over and over, because there's a lot of change in this business, which is kind of counterintuitive. A lot of times people like FedEx routes because they think there's basically no change. It's not like a tech company or something like that. But the reality is there is a lot of change. And so you have to look at what FedEx has done in the past and see how that has resulted for those contractors. And for the most part, it's been pretty good. Granted, maybe not perfect for everyone, but overall, it's been good for contractors. And so you have to step back and almost take a leap of faith and say, hey, FedEx cares about their contractors. They are the backbone of FedEx itself. They do not want to destroy them or something like that. We're going to go ahead and take a leap of faith and say that the next change that rolls out is going to be okay. So all that to be said, I will still give you my opinion on this particular event. So whenever it comes to the Express and ground integration, my personal thought is it's kind of been happening for a while already, and it's not really that big of a deal. Now, granted, it's now been formally announced and the media is picking up on it, but ground contractors have been taking Express packages for a while. Like, that's not really anything new. Now, granted, they're probably going to be taking a lot more, and I think FedEx saw that things were going well with it, wanted to roll out more of that, and then that's whenever the formal announcement came, whenever they realized it's going to work out just fine. Now, brokers are going to take this and run with it. They're going to say, hey, that's more volume, and more volume equals more revenue, and more revenue equals more net income. Now, granted, sometimes that's the case, but oftentimes not exactly, because these businesses don't work on margin. Because whenever you get these other packages coming in from Express, a lot of times we already know that they're coming in at a lower piece rate than other packages. So if you are spending the same amount of money to deliver all these new packages as you are getting in terms of revenue, well, your revenue went up, your volume went up, and your net income stayed the same. Now, brokers don't want you to see that because they want you to think you can just evaluate these things financially on margins. But you can already see right now that with different piece rates come different margins. And so there's a little bit of an issue there. Will it be like that for all the routes? Who knows? You probably end up making more net income, and a lot of the contractors will. But how much is going to be the question? That's going to be the real big question that we start to see unfold as more of these packages roll out. Again, brokers just want you to focus on volumes. They want you to focus on revenue. That's not the way you want to play this game. So overall, I do think that this is going to be a net positive for the majority of contractors. Now, certainly not all of them. The contractors that thought that this was some absentee, set it and forget it type of business are starting to realize, wait a minute, there's another big change every 6 to 12 months. And every time the dust settles from that, there's something else. And this is starting to take up too much of my time. I thought the manager could handle everything. Those guys probably aren't going to like their business. Those guys are probably not too pleased with it. But for the other contractors that have some time and can spend a little bit of mental energy on this business, I think that overall it's going to be positive for them. The other thing is that some of these contractors will have downward pressure on their net income. And so these guys are going to be selling right now because they can sell and show verifiable net income figures. And then next year it's going to drop. And they can say, oh, I didn't know the future. Sorry about that. And all the people that are looking at buying right now, they're only seeing dollar signs in their eyes because they see more packages, more revenue, and think that it's more net income. It's not necessarily, because these businesses don't work on margins. And so anyway, hopefully you can see that overall I think it's going to be a good thing. And even with that prediction, you can back up and realize, hey, overall FedEx, whenever they make their changes, which is quite often and frequent, it tends to end up good. So anyway, hopefully this helps out a little bit. Drop a comment below, like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.